I welcome everyone to a special edition of Wizards Outlook. We got Cardo Dudley Jr. here. I'm Wilson Tarpe Jr. Obviously, NBA draft just finished over the course of the last 2 days. Today we're taking a look. Obviously, this Wizards Outlook, all about the Wizards and the 2025 draft haul. We were live the first night of the draft for a while, just for both Wizard selections. Last night, we broke down the second round in its entirety. Today, it's all about the Wizards. So we will start with what they did in the first round, which was selecting Trey Johnson out of Texas with that the first of two first-round selections. Cardell, I know you checked in with us on draft night a little bit. Maybe about 48 hours have passed since then. Your thoughts on Trey Johnson now that we know that he's here for sure and has some time for that to just ruminate a little bit as we understand exactly who's here in Washington.
Yeah, big guard. Tall, got a lot of length, explosive, knockdown shooter guard, 6'5", 6'6". Led the SEC in scoring as a freshman. Just under 19.9, basically 20 points a game, 3 rebounds, just under 3 assists a game, shot 39% from 3, 87% from the free throw line. He shot 42% from the field, but to me, that's just him. It's more so him, lack of strength that's going to come over time, being able to finish, when you get banged up, contact, get banged up in the paint and whatnot. But, yeah, super talented, man. And the thing he brings is versatility. Like, he doesn't have to be on the ball. He can be off the ball. He can hit a variety of shots, man. And he can get to it. Just another weapon that you add to the mix. He's not he's not somebody. I'm not gonna say he's a terrible defender, but he's up and down, which is typical of freshman. Let me say that. Inconsistent defender. There you go. That's the word I'm looking for. But he has the tools and the capabilities of possibly being a very good defender if he really buys in and learns, gets stronger, gets his body up to par, understand angles, tendencies. You got to study opponents and really take that end of the floor serious. And increase his IQ on that side of the floor. I tell people all the time, man, that the same approach you put to offense to be able to dissect defenses and score and build your skill up and understand an IQ to be a scorer and playmaker on the offensive side. It applies to being a defense to try to stop the scorers and playmakers. You got to apply the same thing. So if he's able to apply the same thing, he could be a hell of a complete player instead of just right now an explosive offensive threat. And I think that's what the Wizards are harping on, man, because with his size, he can get away with playing a 1, 2, and 3 as he gets stronger. Right now, I think he's more 1, 2, especially a 2. But I think as he gets stronger, he'll be able to drive with some threes and stuff like that and just continue to explode. And like I said, we all know what Bub can do. Keyshawn, Bilal, AJ, when he had it on, AJ is probably the best athlete out the bunch. But that's a lot of weapons to have on your backcourt that just come in waves. You don't get no breaks, spreading the floor, attacking, making plays for one another, building chemistry. Key with them, getting those stops. And if they're able to do that, as I feel like they will on the offense end, we could just come in waves, just keep pounding you with shots and assists and stuff like that. They can kind of duplicate that on defense, man. The Wizards got something going.
I know for me, the first thing I thought about when Soto was selected was just the possibility of what that potential young backcourt could look like with him and Bub, in the coming years with both of their versatility, especially with a defensive end. And like you said, with this group, we know how hungry they are. I'm sure it shouldn't take too long with how competitive that young group is. I'm sure none of the youngsters nobody wants to be the worst one on that end of the floor. So that's one of the things I'm definitely happy about. From a spacing perspective, that never hurts in this league, obviously. It is also something that help, other folks in the lineup as well. But like you said, just again, great depth for a group that what we seen when they were healthy. At some nights they were able to show They could come at you in waves. We look at somebody like we talked about last year. I think it was Evergreen last year. We talked about Champagnie and the multiple ways he could impact the Wizards all up and down the lineup. Like you said with Trey early, I'm definitely in agreement with you. Early on, probably to be at the 2. As he gets stronger, I could definitely see him be able to defend up the lineup a bit. And again, that just gives us more options for them to play with from a lineup standpoint. Again, we've been talking ad nauseum about what we saw in the finals. Guards that can guard multiple positions, it helps. It definitely helps. You had anything else on Trey Johnson before we moved on?
No, just ready to see him. Give people a preview on Summer League. Look forward to it.
All right, when we're gonna before we after we go through all the picks, we're gonna talk about what Summer League expectations we might have for folks or what we would like to see from these guys before we close out. Up next, with the 18th pick, they took Will Riley, which turned into the 21st pick after they traded back with Utah. So with that, Will Riley, I'll go ahead and get the clip ready out of Illinois, out the University of Illinois. Cardell, your thoughts on what he brings to the table? I know we had a fun moment that night. I told you what the broadcast was talking about versus what you shared. But that said, a couple days later, how you feel about Will Riley joining the Wizards?
Versatility. As you can see up and down the roster, he's just another versatile piece. He had up and down moments throughout his freshman year, but I think later in the year, he started to gain momentum. And that's what led to him being picked in the first round. And that's encouraging. Normally, freshmen may probably fade as you get close to conference tournament time and tournament time. He got better. He's very crafty off the bounce, scoring, being able to score, get by defenders as the routing moves. Understands how to play off the ball, which is crucial. See him breaking him down, like I said, off the bounce. He's nasty. He understands how to move without the ball well. Backdoor screen, very smart, cerebral player. Fairly athletic. Gets the job done. I think he, again, similar to Trey, defensive man. He's a capable defender, but up and down. And a lot of that, I don't think a lot of basketball players understand, man, your physical, being strong and being that helps your confidence and your ability to be able to stay in front of people. Because strength means I can move laterally quicker. I can run after people quicker. I can wall up on guys, and when we make contact, they go back, and that throws them off in their shot. Also, it helps you sustain a high level of play over time, even when you're tired, instead of when you fatigue and your body just starts to shut down. You can't play at the same level you want to. You can maintain a certain level because you're strong enough to do so. And that's just the next step for him. That's why it was encouraging to see him get better throughout the season instead of being up and down or fading late in the season. That's just a testament to his mental toughness, his ability, but also the work he's putting in, because he had to be putting in work to kind of sustain that, man. You know what I mean? And that means he has some good habits, and you need that in the NBA. It's a long season. You know what I'm saying? You want your guys to be getting better. It's similar to you saw how Bub, Keyshawn, how they just stayed consistent. They stayed at a certain level throughout the season. Sure, they had some bad games here and there. They're rookies, but they were able to sustain physically to the point where Bub hitting game winners in Miami in a shootout where they just up and down the whole game and stuff like that, man. You know what I mean? So including, Sarr after, first, I say first few weeks, it was rough. He was staying out on the perimeter and all that. And the thing with him, he got to get strong because his situation is totally different than the wings and the guards. He got to deal with the monsters in the paint. And then, we saw a few times where he would get hit and he kind of shied away from it. He kind of floated more and more as the game went along to the perimeter. Got hit the weight room so he could stay down there and just, we just going to bang and made the best man win. We're going to bang for 48. I ain't leaving this time. And that's the next step for Will. And it's a natural progression. But when he has that, man, it's just another win. Like I said, depth, throw depth at teams. And you're going to wear them down. We just saw it. We just saw a team win a championship at Hill. I can't even front. The Indiana Pacers did it to people. And to get to the finals, they wore them down. So that's the key, man. I think he has the tools to be a, impact player, man. They're so deep on the perimeter, it's not even funny. So it's gonna be fun to watch him. But yeah, he has the tools, man. Especially off the bounce. He's deadly off the bounce. He makes good decisions. He's crafty. He's hard to guard off the bounce, man. He makes you really you gotta be locked in defensively, because if you make a mistake, you take the wrong angle, you reach wrong, or he feel you leaning one way more so than the other, he gonna spin, he gonna cross back over, he gonna pivot, he gonna Euro step you, and then you gonna see him scoring. So yeah, he's definitely somebody that's talented, and as he gets more comfortable with the guys around him, and playing in the Wizard system, man, I think he'll flourish. Because the one thing about the Wizard system is it's a versatile type system. If you're versatile, you can thrive. You know what I mean? It's not just like, hey, shoot threes, or it's geared towards a couple players. It's a system where if you could do it, you could do it. Like Will Dawkins reiterated in the presser after the first round the other night. He was like, when they was asking about Bud being point guard, he's like, yeah, we love having the ball in his hands, but our system and our thought process is we got guys that if you get the rebound, bring it up, which makes it harder to guard, because now the defense like, yo, get back, and you doing all that, and they pushing the rock. The Wizards know what they trying to do, and you that's advantage Wizards. You're not going against a set defense, and they all over the place, man. So that's what this kid already has in his game, being able to bring the ball up, get by guys, score, or make plays, man. So, definitely encouraging talent.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite things I liked that you were talking about, and then what we're seeing is it's great for them to have another person that can create off the bounce in a different way. We know we saw Key last year, Keyshawn George, do it in the way that he does it. It seems Will Riley's a little bit different in the way that he goes about creating space. We're creating off the dribble. Another thing you talked about, Bob, Key, just the system in general. They already have quite a few folks that move well without the ball. I thought that was something most of the rookie class did very well last year. Those guys did a great job off the ball moving where, as the season went on, you talked about Sarr, the times when he was pushing, the guards had no issue finding places to go on the floor. How many times did we see Sarr at times, on the elbow or whatever, finding cutters or what have you, because they're not just static. They all do a great job moving, like you said, from a depth standpoint. I think it's great. And we saw AJ come in, and once AJ got comfortable, we saw that happening too. And regardless of that first group or the second unit, it doesn't really change. So, hey man, looking forward to it. But they're definitely stockpiling more than a few guys on a perimeter that put the ball on the floor and make reads. And that's one of the things I do appreciate. There's teaching folks to make reads. There's people that are already comfortable naturally making reads, and they got a lot of guys that are just already comfortable doing it, which I definitely appreciate. I think that was something I don't think any of the rookies last year, that wasn't on the table for them. It was like, hey, they got to get that, because they kind of brought that to the table already. Obviously, they'll get better as time goes on, but I definitely appreciate that. And interested to see how he fits into that very, very deep group. All right, that's 2 rounds, and then the Wizards in the second, that was 2 picks. In the second round, the Wizards went and selected Jameer Watkins out of Florida State. Yet another wing. Cardell, your thoughts on Mr. Watkins?
Well, he's the best defensive player out of the bunch. He's ready to go. And Will Dawkins kind of touched on that as the reason why they drafted him. They wanted he's obviously Will and Trey are young. They're freshmen. He's been in college 5 years. Started at BCU, Jim Couch alone, so I saw him mature throughout high school. He started at BCU, and you understand you're not going to BCU if you can't play defense. Before this new regime that just came from Brian Martelli and those guys, you're not going to VCU if you can't play defense, and that's what stood out. Like to give people an idea how deadly he is. or was, at BCU, and it translated for him over in the ACC. His freshman year, his defensive rating was 93.8. Then, he got injured, had a very short season. That's why he played 5 years. Then, his defensive rating was 89.1. His redshirt sophomore season. Then he transferred to Florida State, 23-24. His defensive rating was a 101.7. And last season, it was a 103.5. You know what I mean? Like, he gets after it defensively. And, his defensive rating during the 22-23 season, his sophomore year, he was 18th in the NCAA and second in the A10 conference. In the 23-24 season after that, when he first got to Florida State his junior year, he was 16th in the 16th in the ACC in defensive rating individually with a 101.7 rating. Man, he gets after it, and he's a capable scorer. He put numbers up, man, and he's not the most efficient scorer. He got to get better at knocking down shots at a more efficient rate. But one thing about him, he's relentless. He's strong. He's athletic, and he's tough. He makes up for his inefficiency by getting to the free throw line, putting fouls on defenders. For his career, he averaged about 5 free throw attempts a game. Last year, he almost went to the line 8 times a game. So, that's huge for a Wizards team. You know what I mean? Because they shoot a lot of threes, and also that means he's tough. He can finish and stuff like that, man. Also, with free throw shooting, you can control the game that way. You get free points. You get a break. You get guys rest a little bit, man. So that's pivotal, especially in the, for what they're trying to build with the versatility and guys getting up and down the court and stuff like that. He'll have plenty of opportunities to score easily, playing with guys. But he's also a guy that can bring the ball up and facilitate as well. As you see that block shot, man, his defense, he's a good on ball. He's a good help side defender. Gets in the passing lanes as well. I think they said his wingspan 6'11", if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, free athlete, and he balled at the combine. He was in great shape. Hit shots, got after defensively. He just looked like Jameer. He looked ready to go. And with the young talent that you have, like, think about even above them, they're more experienced on the NBA level, but they still, man, they're still young, man. This baby, like normal times, Bub and them will be going into their junior year in college.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Still young. This guy done been in college 5 years, minus the redshirt year and where he got injured. You just naturally, all those years of just training, you just naturally physically and mentally ready to go, man. So I think he's a guy, with the second pick, I think he's a guy that has a great chance of sticking, even if he's back and forth with the G League in some seasoning, man. I think he'll be able to help him because he's a guy that can fit seamlessly with what they do. And again, he's a guy that don't need a ball. He can play off guys, play defense, and make shots when it's needed.
Yeah, I think they got great value for all the reasons that you named. Getting to the line 8 times a game, that is something they sorely need, regardless of where he is in the rotation. And yeah, the clips of the combine, I know I've watched that over and over again. I know you were there, but those clips were just absurd. Like literally, like clamping the F up, like literally. I forgot. I don't know what smaller guard it was, but I felt bad for the smaller guard where he forced him to pick up his dribble. I think it was like on the right wing. In one of the clips I was watching, forced to pick up his dribble. He tried to turn and get the ball out of his hands, and all he saw was Jameer. Like he couldn't even get it around an arm, anything. Just it was done already.
But think about who his coach was, Leonard Hamilton, last year. All-time NBA coach. He reduces dogs. You can't play for him. Like you can't play for him if you soft, if you're not tough, and like. That free throw thing outside of defense, that's going to be huge. The Wizards ranked 25th in the league in free throw attempts. That's the specialty of his. He gets to the line, man. That's huge. So we're not even going to get on the defensive side. We already know what the Wizards defense was like last year, man. So I think he got a real good shot. Look, they deep. Look, I know we're going to touch on it, but, man, the wings are crazy. You know what I
Hey,
mean?
I got it up here real quick. I'm pull up what they got on the roster at the moment. This is obviously without CJ and Kelly because Jordan and Deke are gone. But yeah, man, you talk about what they have on the wings, right?
Hit the position tab up top, if you can. No, yeah, the POS right there by Middleton.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah, hit that so you can try to get them in order where they did it different. Yeah, do it. Yeah, they
Carter's
just did
still
it
not
different.
open. Yeah.
Okay, so you see what I'm saying? We know Jordan Poole, CJ, and Sadiq Bey gone too, and Kelly Olynyk. That's another guy that they,
Yep.
I forgot about him. They was like, what about the depth? The Heat, 34. That's another vet. They can stretch the floor and rebound, know how to play. So that's depth in the back. I mean, not in the back, on the front court. They need a veteran. People ain't talking about him enough. He should be able to help. The wings, the guards, you still got Smart. Obviously Bub, AJ. You got Keyshawn. I don't know, Jalen Martin gonna be back, if he's still on the two-way. Then you got Middleton, Koulibaly, Kispert, Champagny. Now you add Trey and Will and Jameer. Hey man, you know what I'm
About to be the
saying?
Hunger Games.
Hey. The league, it's funny how the last few decade plus, man, it's been all rainbows and stuff and flowers and stuff, man. OKC and Pacers done changed it. It's about to get back grimy. It's about to get back. It's about to be tough. Practice is about to be real.
2 days of the draft, the themes were heavy and clear.
Versatile defenders, and you better be competitive because they gonna get man. They're gonna find a replacement, and they gonna and you F feelings shows you the best. You ain't got to worry about it. It's all. And I like that. It keeps the edge on you where you can't get lax and get safe. You know what I'm saying? You got to always continue to put in work, man. But that's the NBA, man. They always looking for your replacement. So you slip, you can be up out of there. You know what I mean? So I love it. They're creating a very competitive, healthy, competitive environment. That's only going to sharpen everybody too. Sharpen everybody up as far as being a basketball player, and then it should translate to wins, man. Because I'm like, look, man, 18 wins. So I keep saying it. Playing 37 wins. Miami. They were the 10th seed, 37. Come on now. Like, you got some accomplished vets on this team, man, and did a championship, and now they're there on expiring contracts. We don't know if they're gonna last all year because they expiring contract. Maybe they move them, get another piece. We don't know what can happen in the future, but we just dealing with what's here. Okay, cool. They can't put another. Think about it. You just win another 18. You at 36. You right there knocking on the door of the 10th seed to play in. I feel like I know they're developing. That's the key word that Will Dawkins is going to keep saying. You got to listen. People got to listen. Development. But who says you can't win while you develop? Who says you can't improve while you develop?
Not a rule against it.
And also,
watch OKC do both.
Yeah, isn't that a part of development? I mean, what's the point of putting up numbers? You ain't winning. You know what I'm saying? So eventually, the development is going to have to translate on the court to the most important thing, that's winning. And I get it. Different teams going to emerge. Some teams going to fall back. The Andrew Reid done hitting ball. Like it's the NBA, man. Anything happen. But if they come to play and take the defensive end serious, man, there's no reason why they shouldn't be trying to fight for a play-in. Because I think that's part of development. Get in the playoff, get in some postseason games so you can see what that's like. Because that's part of it. It'd be crazy going your third year, fourth year, you haven't experienced playoff basketball. To me, how much are you developing if that's not the case?
You're right, and think about what that's done for some young teams. We've seen that over the past couple of years. Just a taste of the playoffs. Can't wait to see what Detroit looks like next year after experiencing Orlando for sure. That's back-to-back years. Houston immediately, and after the youngsters get an idea what that second season is like, then I think you can go in, and we know what Washington might have in a few next year with all these expirings, the cap space, etc., all that other stuff. But to me, that only matters if this core is ready to use that money for it to make sense. Otherwise, we saw what Houston just did a little bit, where they went to go get a vet to come in to fix what they feel like is an issue. Cool, but that core had to do what they had to do last year. Otherwise, you don't even think about doing that. You don't consider it at all. Detroit, we're going to see how they move. Orlando showed us real quick what they're on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because once they know it's go time, you got to make the most of it. Again, that magical word, that new life that the NBA's in post apron. Yeah. It incentivizes you, similar to, NFL teams when you got a quarterback on a rookie deal. Now NFL teams with a quarterback on a rookie deal act real different, mad aggressive until you got to pay them because life changes once you pay them.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, this is incentivizing NBA teams. Yeah, you might want to be younger, but you need to get stuff done while you're younger.
And you better be able to develop your guys. Like I was watching a show earlier. Thank Paul Pierce, KG certified, and he mentioned how the Boston's kind of in a tough situation because of the tax haven they had to trade away key players. But he said he felt like they ain't do a good enough job developing young talent that they had in their system, prior. Like I think people forget Aaron Nesmith got drafted he was with Boston his first few years on the end of the bench, and look what he's done for the Pacers. Now with Tatum out, that's a huge to have him on that team. You could stay afloat, until he gets healthy and stuff like that. Like, first 2 years in the league, he was playing 14, 11 minutes a game. Now he become a pivotal piece for the Pacers, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot of players, under Danny Ainge and stuff, man. So it's like it's a lot of players that they had on a team that really didn't develop. To be honest, it's like the only team the only player that developed that's still with them was Peyton Pritchard during that time.
Yeah, because they had Romeo Langford,
La Williams, but he got
Grant Williams.
Mo Wagner, that's in Orlando now. Big. You see what I'm saying? That's depth in your front court.
Sheesh.
Yeah, man. Like if you just take your time and just go up and down the roster, man, see some of the young players that they had in that program that what I'm saying, that Daniel Tice was valuable, you know what I'm saying? Like that just didn't, over time, they didn't develop and they either left or traded them. Hell, you know what I'm saying? Justice Champagnie.
Yeah.
Like look at what he's doing. You see what I'm saying? Like it's guys that you can plug in and then by committee you can get the job done, man. And you're not knocking it. Look, you won a championship, so you can't knock it too much. But it's just certain guys that moved on. You just like, yeah, it could have been different, man.
Yeah, that's tough. That's
a big part of it, man. You got to have guys that you got to develop guys, man. Like that's a must, man. I'm not, even though it's the NBA, it's a certain level you should come in already be ready to go at. You still got to get them in the lab and build up their games, man. Because you don't hit your prime till your late 20s, so which you going to just let them rot for 6-7 years at this point, you know what I mean? It's just, like, man, it makes no sense, man, but.
Yeah. You're right, and you got 82 games in the season. There's definitely a good amount of games there in the season where you can get folks some minutes, some experience. You got the G as well. Like, yeah, there's no excuse for a lack of development these days.
O'Shea Brissett.
Oh
He was
yeah, wow.
balling in Indiana. He was with the Boston Celtics team. Barely played. He averaged 3. Then he got with Philly last year. Started regaining his form again when he averaged 8 and 3. But he shot 48% from the field, man. You know what I mean? Like, dog, you guys, you got to be able to develop, man. You got to be able to develop.
Before we get out of here, Summer League expectations for this young group. They have, every year in Summer League, there's a couple teams that are young where that's, there's always 1 year in Summer League where you got the guys that were literally on the floor for them last year. And this year 2 of Summer League, and they're with the guys for the, the new crop of guys. And, this time it's the Wizards, one of those teams, potentially. If everybody's out there, because obviously the 3 guys that played last year, I don't know if they're going to get Bilal out there or not, but even excluding Bilal, that's the 3 from last year, 3 from this year. That's a group. And then some of the two-way guys, what have you, some of the other young guys, like that's a group. I know we saw Champagne a couple times last year in Summer League. Obviously, I don't expect to see him this time in Summer League, but, again, just an opportunity. But Again, I think I'm with you. I think the other day you were like, we're past calling this regime the new regime. It's just the current regime. Knowing what to expect out of the current regime, heading into another Summer League, what are some barometers or things you're looking for from these guys in a couple weeks?
I mean, definitely chemistry. Just getting used to playing with one another under the whistle. Also, with Bub and all those guys that's going to play, Keyshawn, all those guys are with the experience that they have, they can help speed up the learning curve for, Trey and Will and then Jameer. When they get an opportunity, I don't expect them to play all the games. Like it's 4 games starting July 11th. They play Phoenix, Brooklyn, Philadelphia, Utah. I think they're going to play a couple games just to kind of get some chemistry. And then I think the Wizards going to sit the guys that played last year that's already, they're not rookies anymore. I think they're going to pull them. And then they're going to get the keys to the young bulls and the 2 ways and exhibit 10 guys that's trying to make the team or make the G, or guys they're looking at for the G League roster. They're going to get the bulk of the minutes. But, yeah, just building up chemistry and just seeing what these guys got, man. Since, just give us a preview of what you can do. We understand the real season is different. Obviously, the top guys and the scouting reports catching up, but still, that's just what it is, man. See how they play off one another, how they mesh. Definitely want to see some improvement, defensively from the returning guys, and then from the returning guys, I want to see how if they physically done put in work, if they got better. Like I want to see Saur Main, man. You know what I'm saying? It's too often times in the paint. He pump faking and stuff like that. Doing a layup just like he a guard. Go up and put them boys in the basket, man. But I know that comes with strength. So, I want to see, and I definitely want to see if he's taking another step, and that's the main thing. Did they take another step? And let the rookies do what they do. Go out there and get a taste of what's to come.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you. The other thing, I just want to see how these guys fit in with the rest of these young guys, because we know how competitive this young group is. See if they fit right in. And I think we all feel like their makeup should allow them to fit in seamlessly in that respect. And then, yeah, I'm with you. We saw just in a year what the difference physically looked like for Bilal before his season came to an early end. He went from attacking and, sometimes having to be helped up off the ground after attacking, to putting folks in the basket. And for a brief stint last year, folks were moving out the way when he was heading down the lane if they weren't putting through the basket. So, yeah, I'm with you. I want to see physically what that jump was physically during your first offseason. And obviously, don't expect to see too much of them. But, yeah, just honestly, defensively, I don't even – offensively, whatever happens. I just want to see them get after it defensively. Like, really, truly get after it.
Right. And I just want to throw him in there, Vooch. We forgot about Vooch.
About Vooch, yeah. Yeah.
Because he can play. he just need to get strong. Like he got main streak and stuff too, so he just got had the strength to really impose his will. But I want to see what he looking like, man. You know, if they, you know, I expect to see him in summer league too.
Right.
You know, yeah, you know, look, man, they young. AJ too. You know, AJ, get your butt out there too, bro. Like all y'all, you know.
For AJ for sure too. As freakish athletically as he is, yeah, I want to see the physical gains too.
Yeah, and just build that chemistry, build rhythm to take into the next season, man.
Right. And I think that's all anybody can ask for. We appreciate you guys. We'll check in with y'all soon on the Wizards side. As you know, I think they start prepping for summer league, like Cardo said, next week. And then obviously, you know, summer league get going July 11th or whatnot. Mystics folks, we'll see y'all tomorrow night. Y'all have a good evening.